No! Shout out Hellspawn, shout out Boofmeister, shout out Angel, shout out John Norton, shout out Heebie Jeebies, shout out the homies in the gaming community, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, everything. Today, it's Friday, we're here, we're going to enjoy the weekend. I can't wait to play this Anthem beta. It's going to be a fun time. But for now, we're here to talk about the skill gap and how Call of Duty consistently every year has been minimizing the skill gap as much as possible. Skill gap first kind of was introduced, I think, in the first futuristic Call of Duty game, Advanced Warfare. The movement was super erratic, super jumpy and jolty and all over the place. Plus, there was the first introduction of variants in Call of Duty, where game-changing statistical weapons were acquired. The most famous of them was the Obsidian Steed. If you don't remember what the Obsidian Steed could do, it turned the fully automatic BAL 21 into a 3-shot, fully automatic, low recoil weapon that could pretty much kill anywhere on the map. And since not everyone was able to acquire the Obsidian Steed, at least in the beginning, it made it a very unfun game if you didn't have it, or a very hard to play against weapon. But there's always been things to help kind of newer players to be introduced into the game. That started around with COD 4, when multiplayer blew up. Juggernaut was one of the original perks that helped new players. You got to take a couple extra bullets, kind of like body armor is today. But the counter for Juggernaut was stopping power. Stopping power, you did extra damage all the way around. It was supposed to counter Juggernaut so your weapon wouldn't be basically, it'd be returned to its 3-shot kill or its 4-shot kill phase instead of turning into a 5 or 6-shot kill and letting that person, basically beat you up. But there were other perks in line. There was Last Stand, there was Martyrdom. There was a lot of cheap tactics or cheap perks that could get you pretty much an easy kill, especially in the older games, since you couldn't move as fast. Also, with the older games, there were map knowledge. You needed map knowledge, you needed weapon control and weapon skill to really have a higher skill gap on people. If you knew where people were going to be, you could pre-fire them. You could look towards those spots. You could look towards the sniper ranges. You could look towards the sight lines where normal, obvious places people would go to hit sight lines. Made sense. You learn these things as you played the game and you adapted to the playstyle and you grew past the meta. As time went on, Call of Duty started lowering this idea where we don't need to do this anymore. Players don't need to get better to get more to be better. They don't need to learn the maps. They don't need to use their equipment tactfully. They don't need to do anything to help them actually achieve better stats. The casual player is not necessarily ruining the game, but it's not making it better. The first sign of this, in my opinion, was in Modern Warfare 2 when they introduced death streaks. Death streaks sounded all fine and dandy until we started getting into Final Stand, Dead Man's Hand, Martyrdom. Some of the other ones weren't too ridiculous. One was like Copycat, you can copy their class. And I think there was one where you get extra run speed when you spawn in. But the most famous of them all, once again, was Painkiller. Painkiller, just like Juggernaut, lets you eat extra health for about 9 seconds off of a 3 or 4 deaths in a row. If you guys don't know, Painkiller was so beefy, in fact, you could eat 7 consecutive Spaz 12 shots to the face before dying, as long as Painkiller is still running. So Painkiller, as annoying as it was, at least only happened every once in a while, but if you're straight scraping a team, everyone's having Painkiller consistently activate, which can be frustrating. As we go on, gun skill is still a thing. There are high recoil weapons, low recoil weapons, high rate of fire, high damage, but they all had their checks and balances. If a gun had low recoil, it usually had low damage. So yes, you could laser somebody across the map, but it would take 4 to 5 to 6 shots to do it, because it doesn't have the damage as a moderate recoil, higher damage weapon. Good example, ACR from MW2, laser. Gun was a laser, but it did take 5 shots to kill at some ranges, where the M4, which is just slightly more recoil, and you could put a grip on it, is slightly more recoil, could kill you at 4 shots pretty much at any range, even with a silencer. Another weapon to look at, the Scar. Scar in older Call of Duties, slow rate of fire, but always a consistent, pretty much 3-shot kill, regardless. And because it was a slower rate of fire, it had a lower recoil, but that was the balance. The slow rate of fire meant that fast rate of fire weapons could outgun them, potentially. But as we move forward, Call of Duty has started to introduce less and less recoil mechanics to weapons. So figuratively, there are no real skills to that anymore. If we look at Black Ops 4 today, right now, I can count pretty much on one hand the only weapons that have recoil in this game. And they're few, very few and far between. The ABR, which was a god gun in the beta justifiably, has recoil. It has a stupid amount of recoil. You have to 2-burst people, which is 6 shots in a game where most guns 4 shots you or less, at all ranges nonetheless. But I digress. The Spitfire, which is spitting like the Vesper, does have moderate recoil, but its rate of fire is so high and the recoil is so controllable, you can knock people out at assault rifle ranges. There's no skill there. There's no super weapon control. There's no mastery of the weapon like they were claiming, in my opinion. And tie that in with the double attachments, like double high cal, double stock, which is probably the most annoying. Double fast mag is not a big deal. Double quick draw is not a big deal. Double grips are super annoying. Once you change a weapon from a consistent 3 to 4 shot kill to an always 3 shot kill, that turns a weapon into a powerhouse. Like, that's game changing. And looking back at it, it might seem like a fun idea for the Pick 10 class, but it's just not okay. And then operator mods even make it worse. Operator mods are some of the most uncounterable objects in the game. Oppressor mod on the Titan, yeah, sure, it gives me Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 4 suppression, which is nuts. In Call of Duty, a game that's so quick to be able to not aim in at all because I'm just getting not hit per se, just shot around, and I can't keep my gun on sight. That's an uncontrollable amount of flinch that I can't counter. That's nuts. That's crazy nuts. You're all garbage. Among other uncounterable things, which I think lower the skill gap, are the free give me a free kill equipments. I'm looking at you, Shock Drone. Shock Drone. Oh, I place this little Vroomba robot that runs across the floor, shocks a target, potentially around a corner so he can't even see it coming, and then he's stuck there. Even if the player does hit the sequenced button to unshock himself, there's more than enough time to get a free easy kill pretty much every time. And God forbid, if he doesn't hit the sequence, he's literally a sitting duck for almost 15 seconds. That's unbelievable. At least in older Call of Duties, if I got concussed or our team was using like portable radar or we're bringing it back, portable radar or flashbangs or something along that, like a threat detector grenade, like there were ways to stop that. There was tac mask, there was cold-blooded. Granted, I had to give up other things to run those perks, but there was ways to stop it from happening, ways to stop me from getting stuck and killed around corners and killed around objects with uncontrollable deaths. Do you know how many times I run into this game and I've killed 4 or 5 people? All of a sudden I come around, I'm not even through a doorway, and Shock Drone, stuck, can't hit the sequence, dies instantly. Unavoidable death. He didn't beat me because of gun skill. He didn't beat me because of proper positioning. He didn't beat me because he's a better player. He beat me because I have an uncontrollable object, an uncounterable object, that just stopped me in my place and made me an easy potential kill. And that doesn't even stop there. We can talk about trip mines. At least in older games, placed equipment like claymores or trip mines specifically, or bouncing betties, they were counterable objects. Claymores, a little bit harder than the rest, but if you place them at a good angle, you could probably pick somebody up every time. Unless they had like engineer or bomb squad or whatever the perk was to see equipment through walls. But if I was a smart player and I killed the guy who was probably camping behind those claymores, all I had to do was wait for his kill cam to run out and the claymore would disappear. Done deal. Safe. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Same thing with trip mines. Trip mines were a little bit more hazardous because you could place them on like the ceiling, the roofs, the sidewalls at weird angles, like angles that that claymores couldn't cover. And bouncing betties, those are just easy. You just have to duck to the floor if you're quick enough. That makes sense. If you're aware, if you're really aware, and you see this bouncing betty, you jump to the floor, you can dodge it. But an unavoidable death, like a shock drone just killing me, or trip mines that last the entirety of the match until they're either A, blown up, or I walk into them because they're on a weird random flank through a door that I can never see coming. Just straight BS death. Trip mines staying there for 75 fucking kills because they don't disappear after I kill the guy who placed them? Come on, guys. Unavoidable deaths. It's honestly shocking to me how many people get nuclears. Most of them being in, obviously, hardcore. But nonetheless, like, there's so many things that just not burn me, but burn me about this game. We haven't even talked about the gear slot yet. Gear in this game is game-changing. Gear in this game is nuts. Gear inconsequentially lowered the skill gap. And you're asking, how? Well, first, in the beta, body armor was working crazy well. It wasn't just, I'm going to block a single bullet, I'm going to block at least up to 150 damage, which is basically a whole fucking kill. Then, Treyarch got crafty. They didn't just they did lower the body armor, like, damage intake a little bit, but what they did was, so you wouldn't realize it as much, you wouldn't realize how many players are just sitting with body armor, they took away the hit marker to tell you you're hitting body armor first. Instead now, all you hear is like a metal clang and then a shattering sound for when you shoot through body armor. Body armor is cool, right? There's some counters for body armor, but not every gun has those counters. The only counter for body armor is FMJ, and there are a select amount of weapons that don't have FMJ, which is nuts. Why do some weapons not get FMJ but others do? That doesn't make sense to me. And then talking about other gear, the manual heal is a big one for me. The manual heal inconsequentially changed the skill gap because now, if I'm in proper position, if I get my bullets on first, if you take 2 or 3 shots, then you somehow get around the corner, right? You escape me. There's 2 scenarios that happen in every other older Call of Duty. 1, I challenge you and probably get the kill I fucking rightfully deserve, excuse my language, or 2, I let you go and move on. The fact is, though, the fact that I could take 2 bullets, run around this corner real quick, instant heal up, jump back around the corner, and re-challenge you because you're not expecting me to jump back at full health and beat you in a gunfight because now your weapon with this crazy undocumented operator mod, no recoil, 3-shot killing, high fire rate weapon just destroys me. It's insane. I don't know. I don't think it's that difficult to balance a Call of Duty. I don't think it's that difficult to make a Call of Duty that's fun to play. Honestly, we can go back to the glory days. MW3. I would totally play MW3 again the entire way through. There's probably like a handful of things that they could slightly change, but it was a great game. Black Ops 3, great game. Black Ops 2, fantastic game. Infinite Warfare, better than the last 2 Call of Duties that came out, which might be shocking to any of you, but man, customization in that game, with classes, creative class, specialist perks, specialist abilities, as much as there were so many things going on, you could at least customize your class in a way that made you feel unique to do whatever you needed to do, to counter whatever you needed to do, to survive whatever you needed to survive. In this game, man, we're just stuck. We're just stuck out here. And especially if there's a game mode where you're allowed multiple specialists, oh man, just get ready for the shock drones, the chain lightning, the dogs that instant melee you through a wall. Like, it's great, man. Just great. I hope you guys enjoyed my rant. I hope you guys have a great Friday afternoon. Hope to see you on the Anthem beta. As for now, as always, this is your boy, Hellraider, signing off.
Yes, I had fun.